Hello, welcome to the Doggy Style Podcast. Join me, Al Berg, and my dog Lola on our adventures through Long Island and New York City. I'll be discussing all sorts of topics that you won't hear anywhere else. Okay, maybe you will. I talk about key principles of success, happiness, and we know we want happiness, persuasion, dogs, my life, some secrets, and many other interesting topics. Come on in. Put your seat back, kick off them shoes. Well, not if you're driving, of course. Take a deep breath, relax, get rid of that stress, and enjoy the ride. Hello, everybody. Al Berg here. And we have a very special podcast today and a very special episode. It's episode 69. Wink, wink. So I'm in Manhattan right now, walking home. Had a pretty uneventful and boring day, I must say. So let's see what we got to talk about. So there's idiot from Virginia. Should say his license plate, just like, I guess he's in a rush. You gotta be so careful walking across the street. Yesterday I saw somebody, well, it wasn't yesterday, it was the other day. Somebody almost get hit by a car. Be so careful. Um, so just in news, I saw a depressing thing from my point of view that made it sound like that Trump's lawyer is going to talk or he's going to speak up. So, I mean, that could be depressing in a way. I kind of feel that the country is headed in the right direction in some crazy way. But, so, who knows what's going to happen with that. Next thing I have is that the podcast needs a title. And I've mentioned before that I've criticized other people. So if it says podcast 69, nobody wants to look at it and figure out what it is. I have to figure out what I'm talking about. So one of the problems with this is that I'm just blabbering about random topics, and instead of just sticking to one topic and then having a title. So it's something I'm going to have to work out and start creating a list of topics to talk about. So one thing that I noticed is what I call a bad mood transference. And this is where somebody's in a bad mood and they transfer that mood to you. And a lot of people do this. I don't know why. I guess I might do it too. But if you're ever in a bad mood, don't take that bad mood out on somebody else. Oh, so one interesting thing was today, I spoke with my boss early in the morning, and he sounded so depressed on the phone. So I said, "Is everything okay?" You know, I thought it was about me, but it turns out his daughter, I don't know if she ran away or what happened, but the daughter wasn't listening to him and seemed to give him a bad weekend. And then a coworker walks into the coffee room while I'm in the coffee room, and kind of just unfriendly, just a very unfriendly energy. So if you do have something bad going on in your life, you got to be really careful on how you project that towards other people, because they don't care. They don't care what the reason is. All they know is you're acting in a hostile way towards them. So be very careful if you're going to transfer your bad mood to somebody else. And a lot of people do this. It's very common. And on the other hand, if somebody's attacking you or just you're just feeling unappreciated, it could be that they're transferring their anger from somebody else. Very common. And we don't have a language to say this. So it'd be nice if you could say to somebody, "Are you transferring?" And they'll smile and say, "Yeah, I am." I guess you'd have to discuss it with them outside of the issue. So you wouldn't want to bring it up during the issue because nobody's going to agree with you. But if you do it outside, listen, I notice sometimes I do this. I transfer my anger. You ever feel I'm doing that, please tell me, say the following words, and I'll stop. Um, as a guy on an electric scooter comes scooting on by. So there's a guy who was talking to the intern that sits next to me, and he was doing a lot of, I'll call it complaining about this, about that. And I have to say that complaining is a really bad thing to do. As I complain about his complaining. At least I see it, but I don't know, just something very uninteresting about it. And unfortunately, I'm not picking on a race or a religion, but it does seem to me that a certain group of people that I'm a member of that tribe do complain a lot. So could be a habit, it could be, I mean, at one time we had a lot to complain about, those damn Nazis. But this day and age, we have so much to be complaining about anything, is what some people have called first world problems. You know, my boss was mean to me or whatever. So anyway, so I just thought this guy was telling this story. So funny enough, I saw him, same guy waiting. Oh, that's nice and cool. I saw this guy waiting outside the men's room, and it kind of looked like he was waiting for the somebody to come out so he can go in. But it turns out that somebody went in there that he knew, and he was waiting for that person. Now, one of the things that was funny, it reminded me of the Seinfeld episode, and I'll post a clip of where George follows his boss to the bathroom, and the boss goes into the bathroom, and George waits outside, and then eventually George goes inside, and I think this is what happened. And the boss comes out of the stall, and he says, "So you got that, you know what to do, right, George?" And George says, "Yes." It's just kind of funny how the boss thought George was in the bathroom the whole time, and obviously the boss was talking to him the whole time, but he wasn't. And it was just a funny situation. It seemed like that was the same situation. So now the guy doesn't watch Seinfeld. I don't know, to me, if you don't watch Seinfeld, it's such a funny show. And he's old enough to have, he should have watched it. But, you know, I guess not everybody can watch these shows. But it lowered this guy in my mind. I was considering seeing if he was hiring. I know he's a new guy managing director, and seems like he would probably be hiring people. But what he was doing seemed kind of boring. I don't know if I'd be so excited by that kind of work. Ooh.
So as ooh, it's pretty stinky over here. So one of the things that is boring about my job is I run these queries and they're slow a lot of times. And today it was a bad day because nothing was running. Everything was really slow. I was running like three or four reports at the same time and nothing was working. And the data wasn't even loaded properly. So it makes the job boring. But again, getting into the idea I came up with last time, yesterday, which is I don't care. Um, just need to deal with it. If it's slow and it makes it boring, I can find interesting things to do. Matter of fact, I have so much to do. If that's waiting, I got to go to the next task and get that done. So it's not like I can't deal with it. I just need to deal with the situation better. And there's also a bunch of things I need to do on a regular basis. Yeah, and I'm just thinking about how these things that seem frustrating should be a reminder. So for example, the closet, I talked about the closet being open was really annoying me. And this is how I got into this I don't care mentality. I looked at the closet and think, why does it have to be closed? I mean, ask yourself that. Why does the world have to be the way you want it? And if it's not, what does that mean? So that's a very, very key question. So the question is, why does that query have to be fast that I was running? And if it's not, what can I do? So the obvious answer is to just find something else to do while it's running. Sounds so simple, and it is. It is. That's all I have to do is just do something else. And it helps that it would help. I would had the idea that the query, once it detected it was slow, would give me something out of my test to do. I was thinking about some people and things that are similar to this that I need to adapt the same mentality. So, for example, sometimes I sit on the train and people are in my space. Um, and I've thought about ideas, inventions where on my arm I press a button and some spikes or thumbnails stick out, and if they're touching me, they'll get stuck. Jesus Christ, it was so slow. But it would be better if I just accept it. So they're touching me. Why can't they touch me? Why is that the end of the world? And then the other one is if somebody's talking too loud. I could easily put headphones on so I can get angry and upset about it, but it's just much simpler to just do an I don't care. Damn, just missed the light. Okay, I'm gonna head towards 7th Avenue. Oh, yeah, so all of these upsetting things are upsetting me for some reason, and I'm gonna guess that it's just moving my anger away from what I'm really angry about and focusing on something that's really not that important. So it looks like even the side streets in Manhattan, they're starting to build more bike lanes. I'm right now there's a nice sports place on 122 West 26th Street. Doesn't seem to have a name. Oh, here it is. It just has an A. It's weird, look closed. Yeah, so when any of these things happen, um, much better to deal with it in a relaxing, non-confrontational method. Now, today coming in, I saw a fight happening. It was looked like a crazy guy and a guy selling coffee or something, and it just seemed weird situation. I'm not sure what they were fighting about, but they were looked like they were about to go to blows. You don't ever want to be there because you get killed. I mean, somebody could punch you, knock you out, and you're not ready for it. So you always want to be under control. Never let your anger escalate. And then again, I don't have any good strategies right now, but I do think saying you're sorry to a crazy person is something you should do. If you did anything, say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Hope you can forgive me." And that, in theory, should diffuse a lot of bad situations that could turn in a direction you don't want. So there's something I would say, I'll call it negative energy. And a guy I work with, he wasn't in today, and he has that. He's got the two things. He's got negative energy, and he transfers his anger. Two really bad qualities. I hope, I know I probably do that too. I'm trying to come out of this negative anger. And something happened today. I'm not sure. I don't remember what it was. And you can, maybe somebody bumped me, who knows. But one way to get out of negative energy is to put it in the past and realize the past doesn't exist. So I love this expression, that the past really is just a memory cell. So I just walked, talked, but there's no existence of the past. It's just that you can't touch it. It's just in my memory of what happened, who slighted me, who did me wrong. And if you live with that, if you live your life always angry about the past, it's just a very bad place to be, I think, where life happens in the now, in the present. Now, I'm not saying not to plan, but you want to spend as much time in the present as possible. Yeah, so the other coworker had this same kind of negative energy, and it's just something to try to be conscious of. Oh, oh, oh. Ooh, yeah. A little sunny on this side. I'm going to cross to the shady side, and just as a tip, good rule is on the hot day, walk on the shady side of the street if you can. And on a cold day, walk on the sunny side. That's pretty self-evident. Yeah, so just try to stay away from this negative energy. It would even help if you're not sure, um, is you want to check, say, every 15 minutes. What's your energy? Are you projecting negative? Are you complaining? Or are you bringing up positive and shooting out that positive energy at people? Now, I'm by a building on 7th Avenue and 22nd Street. This thing's been out of business, I gotta say, for 10 years. It's very strange. I do want to look it up on Google maps, and I will put links to everything here. That's something I got to think about. Do I want to do that? Is that going to make any podcast better? It almost seems like I should do the current one and then a previous one, um, just to be up to date. And I think the current one should have. I need to watch it and and put down what it's about, what I talked about, and things like that. Yeah. So watch negative energy. I think it's a very important concept. And so one of the things I could use in my stand-up alarm, well, my success alarm, is a 15-minute alarm where you get an alarm every 15 minutes. So another thing I'm thinking about doing is um, my name, Alberg, it's not my real name. Okay, so I use it, and I'm considering going to my real name. And it's the one of the reasons I have a pen name, if you want to call it that. So I have a company that's under my name, and I would need to switch it or create a doing business as or do something. Because I don't want my company to find out that I'm doing things. I want to be able to do things easily. So there's something to consider. Also, if I feel that I have good content, I should be proud of it. And people should know that this is the kind of stuff I do. But I'm a little afraid of the podcasting because I might be talking something too personal about a boss or something like that. And obviously, I wouldn't want to talk about a boss and he finds out what I'm saying about him. That would be a bad situation. So over the weekend, I did implement a form of time balance where I listed some goals, and within the goals, I put down some tests within each goal, and then randomly selected. It was okay. There's a problem with it, in that sometimes you do have priorities. So time balance also needs a high priority and deadline list, which unless it's empty, you have to do those tests before you could balance your time. Also, I think I worked on stuff way too much longer than I wanted to. So it was another thing. And then another idea was that the when I selected the task, I pressed random, it selected a random task. It should also just track it. So just get that out of the way, save a step. So I was trying to measure and track 4 or 5 things I feel I do during the day. And I wasn't able to do it well. It's really hard. So one of the things I do is I run a report. Press run, and the report runs. The next thing I do is I wait sometimes. I'm just waiting for a query to run, get the results back. After it's finished, I do checking. So I'm looking at the data, is it right? And then the next one is fixing and debugging. So a lot of times happens way too often. I spend time trying to resolve an issue. What's the specific issue? So I would like to be able to track this stuff much better. Not sure how to best do it. It seems like an app would do it, where I would just basically press one of 4 things. The problem that you constantly have is that you forget to do it. So I might be tracking, I'm running a report, but now I'm waiting and I forget. So I don't know if the code that I actually run could do this. Let me think about this. So I press run, and it's running. During the wait phase, it could log that time. to a database, and the fixing is kind of weird because it doesn't really fit into anything. I guess I could track when I'm on the window where I do the debugging or stuff. I could do that. So I probably could do this. I could do it based on the window I'm on. So there's the idea. I want to write some code that's going to break down my time by those categories: running, waiting, checking, fixing, debugging, and maybe something else too. So now I'm reaching the 30-minute mark at 14th Street. Um, but I don't have to turn back yet. I'm not sure what the right street is to turn back on, but I'm not going to go up 14th. I'm going to go up 8th Avenue, which is good because 8th Avenue is with the traffic, but it doesn't seem like the lights were timed that well last time I did that. Whew. Yeah, so it probably would be better if I was wearing shorts right now. Just a thought. So the other thing I was thinking is that anything negative that comes up should be a happiness reminder. Um, whether it's the closet, somebody talking too loud, and to think thoughts, and I need to start collecting these thoughts that make me happy. If I have a happy thought, I should really, um, you know, focus on it, make it more real, or make it more important. Where the happy thought is easy to bring up, easy to pull up. Yeah, so any negative hot weather could be a happiness indicator that it's so hot, I'm so sweaty, but I am alive. Or I could look at the hot weather and say, oh, it's so hot, so uncomfortable, I'm so sweaty. Or I could say, I'm hot. I'm hot. I could say that the term hot, that I'm hot, it also means I'm hot, you know, hot looking. So I really think that this is an important concept, is to find ways, because I'm on 12th Street now, find ways to turn these negative incidents into a happy one, and to remind yourself that you do have a lot to be happy about. And just one other thing I was thinking about is that what if a coworker prayed 5 times a day? How would I feel about that? So I do feel I'm very lucky. I can imagine a world where I'm at work and some guy goes right next to me, puts down a car, unrolls a carpet and starts praying. That would be very disturbing, and I would not be happy about it. Um, so anyway, so just a thought. Okay, so now I'm in the village um, on West 11th Street, and gonna have to find a place to go up. So I still have some extra time, I think, because I think I have the extra time because I walked from the 40s past 34th Street, and that had to take a certain number of minutes. is nice here. I mean, there's a certain feeling you get from the village that you don't get. Cute dog. I have to say, some pit bulls are beautiful dogs. And I see a lot of women with them. Okay, so we've gotten through that. Um, we've gone through that. This is my list for today. And we're going to do the persuasion book today. Ooh, exciting. So I've been collecting ideas about persuasion for a couple of years now. So anytime anything persuades me or seems persuasive or I get a persuasion lesson, I make a note of it. So let's go through my persuasion notes. And just as a note that that's cool. Uh, I'm 6 pounds away from my goal. It was like a pound away the other day, and it just evaporated. And again, part of it is because it's terrible how careful I have to be with what I eat. So now I'm getting a little lost. I have to walk to Hudson Street. I'm going to turn up 4th Street right now. Yeah, let's turn up. I used to walk down these streets all the time. It does make me feel good. Um, and I really do. And I'm going to say hate, but walking in Midtown with the crowds, there's no crowds here, empty streets, and I'm thinking I probably should do a video. Okay, maybe not today, but next time. Okay, so first thing that comes up is Doug Hall's 3 Lessons of Marketing. And I have OBDDRR2B. So basically, Doug Hall's an author. He wrote a book called Jumpstart Your Business Brain. Very good book. Highly recommend it. And this is what I was talking about the other day about how just because information is good doesn't mean you're going to do it or use it. Whew. Oh yeah, stepped in a hole. Hate that. Okay, so the 3 laws are OB, which stands for overt benefit, DD, dramatic difference, and RR2B, real reason to believe. And the basics of this are you want to first have a benefit of your product or service, and the benefit is what does it do for your customer, and you want to express it overtly. So your marketing should express this overt benefit. The next thing is the dramatic difference, which is I think the 3rd rule, and I have it second here. And the dramatic difference you want to do is you want to explain how your product or service is different. How is it unique and not a commodity? So you always want to get away from being a commodity and have a benefit that only you provide. And then the 3rd one is real reason to believe. So how do you demonstrate you can deliver on your benefit promise? And he describes it in much more detail. It's a really great book. I'll post a link to it. Highly recommend you get it. But again, like everything, you need to, and I need to apply this stuff. So I'm on 8th Avenue now, and I should be okay. I'm considering crossing because this side of the street appears to be in the sun. The next one I have, and I'm not even sure what this means, but it says Buradani's ass. I have no idea. I really don't have any idea what that means. Um, Next one is giving away a free item. So sometimes it's even hard to give away free items. I'm going to cross just to get in the shade. And the reason for that is people intuitively know that there's a deal you're making at a reciprocation deal that nothing's free. So what's hidden? So is it persuasive to give away free items? I don't know. I do see that you can give away something free, but doesn't mean you'll get a paying customer. So it's something to consider, free versus paid. I could do a little bit more research on this. The next one I have is number 808, persuasion failures. So this is where I try to persuade somebody and it failed. And I've listed one here. So I tried to persuade my boss to let me attend a meeting. And this is what I wrote. I wrote, Catherine, the meeting below, XYZ meeting, seems like it would be interesting to attend. Would you mind if I attended this meeting because it would help get me more involved with the business? So I used a would you mind and a because, two things that Scott Adams talks about as persuasive. And she wrote back, the meeting is limited to a small group of senior executives, and most of the agenda is around broader topic, not just reporting. We just spent less than 5 minutes to quickly discuss the issue of a 1 hour meeting today. I will keep you informed in the email or invite you to attend specific topic discussion. So maybe it did work. But the reality is that persuasion doesn't always work, even if you execute it perfectly. So now another thing I could have done is do it again. So a coworker tried to persuade me the other day, and he approached me twice. I guess I could have gotten pissed off, or I gave him an excuse, and he could have. I would have probably been angry had he tried some more. I would have been pissed off, so better that he didn't. Um, I wonder about the others in my group. They seemed a little stressed also. I wonder if the boss is stressing them also. You know, it's very possible. So a woman just came by, and I really should take pictures of it. She had a stroller with 2 dogs in it, and the third was in like a baby carrier. So that was an attempt, and what reminds me is that those two methods of persuasion is would you mind and the other one was a because. So, just as a general rule, keep track of your persuasion attempts and successes and failures, and see how you're doing. And you want to do a lot of A/B testing. So if something works, you want to try to do a little different, see if it works more. You want to track as many stats as you can. Okay, so for some reason I have North Korea written down. Not sure why, but anybody who's interested in it will be persuaded and look into it. Next one is 1413. Program yourself. Oh, so the idea here is that we're just really, and Scott Adams coined the term moist robots that can be programmed. And this is partly hypnotism, self-hypnotism, framing. So it seems like it is possible to program yourself to do certain things, whether it's do things out of your comfort zone. Um, it's the way you look at it, and it's the messages you give yourself. So if you're afraid to talk to a stranger, and the message you're giving yourself is I might get nervous, they might laugh at me. That's one message, or the message could be I might make a new friend, or I might learn a better way to talk to people as I run. Whee. Yeah, so 8th Avenue is not a great 8th Avenue is not a great place for making the lights. Also, almost as bad as the other place. Okay. 1921 compliance. So compliance is just somebody complying with your request. I ask you to do X, and you do X. You've complied. I'm not sure I have anything more than that. Okay, next one is 2013. Structure their interactions with us so that our own need, and it stops there. I'm not sure what I was saying here, but it just seems like if you structure interactions, not sure. Number 2447, and I wrote down that my coworker is nasty. Now, I believe I wrote this a long time ago. So she does have a very, I'm going to say, a nasty side to her. She's easily distracted and disturbed by noises. So if I tap my feet, if I bang on the desk, if I slam the drawer too hard, it just triggers her. Yeah, so she's a little nasty bitch. The next one I have is 623, Scott Alexander writing. So there's a guy named Scott Alexander. He writes a blog, and supposedly he's got very persuasive writing style. So it's something to look into. I'll post a link to his blog. Next one I have is, oh, it's crowded. Dallas BBQ is pretty crowded. Next one I have is Impossible to Ignore, which is a book that I liked, but oy, drunken fat guy. Never finished it. Seemed really good, and I could use looking at a summary of it. So this is one idea I've had in the past. Where instead of having to read all the books, see if you could find something online that basically gives me the same information. Sorry, without having to read too much. Yeah, so I'll post a link to that book, and if I can find any summaries or videos on it, I'll also include that. So there's an example where um, book to money or book to knowledge, just a better way to extract this information, like in a book like Impossible to Ignore, which in some way should be give me an up, and if I wanted to be noticed, I'd be impossible. I feel there's a bias. This is number 44, that people believe that talent is natural rather than from practice. Um, so if somebody could do something, and I've learned to juggle, I'm a pretty decent juggler. I wish I could be better, but it just seems like juggling, so much about juggling is practice. Now I've seen people pick things up quicker, but it's really practice, how you practice, very important. So, but I think most people see really great something, whether it's, you could say, dance or a baseball player or a football player. Now, the best of the best obviously had to have both. They had to be born with it and a lot of practice, but not everybody. Um, not everybody is the best in the world, and there are a lot of people who you just don't realize how much time they put into it. So next time you see a performance that is really good, or just something that's very impressive, whether it's a magic trick, somebody juggling, a singer. Now, are there people who are naturally good singers? Yeah, but I think at the same time they have practiced. It just doesn't, it's not just you can sing or play the piano or guitar. Obviously, they have a love for the thing they're doing, otherwise, they couldn't practice as much. If you don't love what you're doing or love the result you get, see, a lot of people will do this with the idea, if I play great guitar, I'll get something out of it, which whether it's a mate or something like that. Oh, we're getting close. So I have 10 minutes. I'm on 28th Street, so I have 10 minutes to go, about 3 blocks. So it should be good. The next one I have, and I just got to do a little bit more research, and I think he's writing a book, is a guy named Mike Cernovich. If you haven't heard of this guy, this is an interesting story. This is a guy who basically came out of nowhere, and it's been on 60 Minutes. So he's done something that very few people have. Now he has a minor speech impediment. He has a lisp. Um, it's very impressive that he did this. He had skin problems. If there's anybody that's that should impress you, is this guy, because he's a guy that appears to not have been born with the best. Um, but he does a great job. He's entertaining in a way. I mean, something I don't like about him also. He could be a little nasty, a little conceited. So I want to do a reverse engineer of him. And he has a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of periscopes and podcasts. And you could almost see how he moved from where he is, how he went from his blog Another one who's a very persuasive writer, I'm just thinking about it, is a guy named Thomas Wichter. So Thomas Wichter's on Twitter. He tweets a lot, and he does really good persuasive tweets. So, um, something to look at and something to copy also. And just as a general rule, anybody who has success, it pays to copy. See what are they doing? Can you do the same thing? Okay, I'm getting close. Okay, next one I have is teach by letting the person figure it out. Now, the reason to teach this way is that there's a lot of learning that comes with figuring things out. And if you could figure stuff out, then you could figure out a lot. Now, I did figure out how to juggle by myself. I figured the whole process out. So now people will give up. And so the question is, how do you get somebody to do it without giving up? Now they could these days go on Google or Google something, go on the internet and find out how to do something. But if you can get people to figure things out for themselves, they'll be much, much better. And so I've been lucky in a way to have a lot of situations where I had to figure things out myself. There was nobody to help me. So I wrote down a list of things. I got, that's wrong, do it this way, and that's too blunt. What are you doing different than what I'm doing? In juggling, I tell people to listen for the sound of the catching the ball. Step 0, move your hand like this with no balls. Showing the basic juggling move. And then step 1, touch and catch. Step 2, catch if it were an egg. So these were just teaching rules on how to get somebody to learn to juggle. And I'm in Penn Station, and that'll be the last I'll do right now, as it's time to head for the train. I wish you all well. This is Al Berg. Please follow me on Twitter. Please like this video if you enjoyed it at all. Please leave a comment whether you didn't or didn't like it. Just like to hear from you. Give me some feedback. I really would appreciate it. Subscribe to this channel, and have a really great day. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. The 4 rules I try to live by are: number 1, life is short and goes by extremely fast. 2, if you do what you've done, you get what you've got. 3, step outside the comfort zone. 4, there is only now, so live in the present. Please subscribe and like this video because it helps me and hopefully helps you. Please leave a comment, as I'd love to hear from you. You can follow me on Twitter and Periscope at Alec Berg. To get more information, check out t2do.com. That's 4 characters. The letter T as in Tom, the number 2, D-O, that's t2do.com. See you until next time.